Elder, this Eisenhorn. Arrest him.
High Custodian.
You will be detained until...
No. I am an Inquisitor of the God Emperor of Mankind, auto-seance. I will cooperate in any investigation, but you will not and cannot detain me. Do you understand?
An Inquisitor? Thousands are dead. This desecration, the highborn of hubris, violated by a...
A murderer. A follower of darkness who now lies dead under a plastic sheet on the upper landing platform. I mourn the great loss hubris has suffered tonight. But if I had not been here at all to raise the alarm, who knows what catastrophe Eichlo may have wrought. Or even his overall ambition.
Eichlo, the recidivist? You must brief me on this entire event.
I shall prepare a report and bring it to you. I will have questions for you too, but you have plenty to deal with right now. We made our way out. Betancourt presented the junior custodians with a formal register of evidence to be stored for my inspection. The list included the casket and the bodies of Eichlo and his men. None would be tampered with or even searched until I had looked at them. Betancourt made these requirements abundantly clear. We took Vibben with us. It looked as though we may have had to remain on Hubris for a week. Maybe longer if Carpel proved difficult. But the investigation could not wait. As soon as I returned to the gun cutter, I went to see Loic, our astropath.
Master?
Contact the main Astropathicus enclave here on Hubris and request a full transcript of off-world traffic for the past 6 weeks. Also any record of unlicensed traffic, individuals using their own astropaths. Whatever they can make available. And a little threat that it's an Inquisitor requiring this data wouldn't hurt.
Will you be requiring an auto-seance?
Not yet, but I will eventually. I will give you time to prepare.
Master, is it true that the female Vibben is dead?
Yes, Loic.
Ah, I thought it was quiet.
The comment wasn't as callous as it sounded. Loris Vibben was a latent psyker. Whilst she was alive, I could hear the unconscious broadcasting of her young, eager mind. And yet my psychic abilities at the time were undeveloped compared to Loic's. Loic, although a young man, was already physically deteriorating from the demands of a psyker's life. He hadn't been with me long. My previous astropath had been killed
Looking for Amos? Last time I saw him, he was in his room.
I spent an hour with Amos in his cramped, data slate-filled room, preparing a report for Carpel. I set out the basic details, reserving anything I felt he didn't need to know. I accounted for my actions. I made Amos check them against local law. In truth, I was bulletproof against local legislation, but I wanted to check anyway. An Amalathian prides himself on working with the structures of Imperial society, not above or beyond them, or through them, as a mono-dominant might. I wanted Carpel and the senior officials of Hubris on my side, helping my investigation. Although exhausted, I could not sleep before paying one last visit to Vibben.
Midas placed Vibben's remains in her room opposite.
Loris Vibben. Twice she saved my life. She saw herself as my aide and bodyguard, but in truth, she was more a companion and fellow warrior.
Get ready. Lift off for Sundome in 5.
For the first time in 6 years, I did not dream about Iklon. I dreamt of something else. Blank eyes were empty. Not like iClone's drones, but vacant. Like an immense, starless distance. I had no idea who he was. At that point...
Eisenhorn.
Touchdown! Destination reached. Ready to disembark.
Betancourt would like to talk to you in the cockpit.
damn bright place.
They have 11 months of pitch dark, so they light their habitat to an excessive degree.
They don't get many visitors in this season. Most of the ships here are local, trans-atmospheric. I make 3 non-locals aside from us. 2 trader launches and a private cutter.
I'd like to know how that bastard Cyclone got here, and how he was intending to leave again.
I'll find out. What about Vibin?
Do you know what her wishes were? Did she want her remains sent back to Tornish for burial?
I don't know, Eisenhorn. She never told me either.
Take a look through her effects. See if she left any testament or instructions. Can you do that?
I'd like to do that. When are you meeting Carpel? Amos is waiting for you at the exit.
Amos is ready for you at the exit below.
Amos had completed his report. Now it was time to face the locals. It was a short trip through the overbright streets to the custodial hall. The flowers?
From the hydroponic farms on East Dome 7.
Signifying?
Morning, same as the sashes. What happened last night is a major tragedy for this world. Yellow is their holy color. I believe the local religion is a solar.
The sun as emperor?
Extreme here for obvious reasons.
High Custodian.
They are all dead. All 12,142. Processional 212 is dead. None survived the trauma.
Hubris has my sincere sympathies, High Custodian.
Your sympathies? A great part of our ruling elite die in one night, and we have your sympathies to console us.
That is all I can offer, High Custodian.
Your arrogance astounds me, Off-Worlder. You bring this monster to our world, battle with him through our most sacred sanctums.
Wait! I came here to save you and deny Iclone's plans. But for the efforts of myself and my companions, he might have destroyed more than one of your hibernation tombs. I broke none of your laws. I was careful to preserve your codes in pursuit of my work. What do you mean I brought this monster here?
We registered no off-world ship these past 20 days, except yours, Eisenhorn. Did you choose Hubris because it was a quiet place, where you might finish your feud undisturbed in the long dark?
Amos?
The supports are early Imperial Gothic in style, but...
Amos, the report. Read this, Carpel. Read it thoroughly. Or should I read it aloud to all here assembled? Should I explain how I came here at the last minute when I learned Iclone was moving to Hubris? That I learned that only by astropathic decryption of a cipher message sent by iClone 2 months ago. A cipher that killed my astropath in his efforts to translate it?
Inquisitor,
And what about this? The evidence that iClone has been planning a move against your world for almost a year. And this, gathered last night, that an unregistered starship moved in and out of your orbit to deliver iClone 3 days ago, unnoticed by your planetary overwatch and the custodian guardians? You were wide open. He exploited you. Don't blame me for anything except being too late to stop him. As I said, you have my sincere condolences. And next time you choose to confront an Imperial Inquisitor, you may want to be more respectful. I'm excusing a lot, because I recognize the trauma and loss you have suffered. But my patience isn't limitless, unlike my authority. I expect your full cooperation as I extend my investigation.
But the matter is over.
I want your consent for me to continue, as well as your full cooperation. iClone may be dead, but he was just the blade point of a long and still dangerous weapon.
What are you talking about?
If he speaks again without me knowing who he is, I will throw him out of the window. And I won't open it first.
This is Chasener Fishig of the Adeptus Arbites. I wanted him present.
Chasener.
Inquisitor, my question stands.
Merdin iClone was a facilitator. A brilliant, devious man, one of the most dangerous I've ever hunted. He had no true allegiances. He worked to facilitate the grand schemes of others. What he was doing here on Hubris was to advance and develop someone else's plans. I must work back from iClone, his men, from any clue he left, and dig my way into whatever greater secret darkness was employing him.
And for this you want the cooperation of the people of Hubris?
The people, the authorities, you, everyone. This is the Emperor's work. Will you shrink from it?
No, sir, I will not.
Excellent.
I grant my authority. Conduct your work thoroughly and quickly. I ask 2 things in return.
And they are?
You report all findings to me, and you allow the Chasener to accompany you. Fishig has the authority of the Arbites. Consider him a local guide.
And your ears and eyes. I will be grateful for his assistance.
Where first?
They wanted blood, I realized. They wanted someone to punish for the deaths. Or something to tell to the rest of the population when they woke to this disaster a few months later. I couldn't blame them. Midas, prepare the combat simulator. We have a new crew member.
The combat simulator is ready.
Okay, Chasener Fishig. Let's see what you've got.
The combat simulator is ready.
Okay, Chasener Fishig. Let's see what you've got.
Had enough then? Round 2. Begin.
This would not be my weapon of choice, Inquisitor. Perhaps I could change.
Try changing your weapons before the next round. Use the terminal over there. Here we go. Have a chambermaid's more fight. Not bad, chasing her. That's a mess you've made of my hold.
Master, I have scrutinized all of iClone's transmissions. They are all in cipher, and it will take some time yet for me to unlock them. But Brother Amos is...
The key is in the lag. During your struggle with the recidivist, he was sending and receiving to someone with a 12.5-minute delay. That's another system.
You're sure?
There are 3 worlds between 11 and 15 minutes lag from Hubris. Thracian, Primaris, Cobalt 2, and Gudrun.
Cobalt is no more than an Imperial watch station. Nothing there.
Thracian is no surprise. That's where we followed him from. But Gudrun? Gudrun's a primary trade world. Old culture, old families.
Old poisons.
Can we be more certain?
I'm sure I can break the cipher, Master. At least for the coded headers, if not the actual text. Given enough time...
Lowink, tell Gregor about the Hubris transmissions.
There were messages sent from Hubris to iClone's ship before he arrived. Not so heavily encrypted. They are rather vague and indirect, but they do discuss something called the Pontius.
The Pontius? Do you have a location?
Why else do you employ us? Thorview 12011, on the west side of the dome, the high rent quarter, Aristoturf.
You said we were meeting at 2.
I did, didn't I? Just about to come and find you as it happens. We're going to Thorview. wealthiest Hubrites kept winter palaces on the west perimeter of the Sundome. According to Chase Nefishik, they enjoyed both light and dark, as if that was something indulgent. They looked inwards to the lit dome, and had shutters that could be opened to view the dark landscape of the winter desert. It was a spiritual thing, Amos suggested.
Wait! The area is lousy with laser traps.
Most perturbatory. They are triggered by proximity. We will need to pick our way through carefully. Gregor, you should be able to hack this door's security with the Auspex.
We need to find a more discreet way in. Perhaps we can find an entrance higher up.
Everything seems to be clear out here. Your scanners must be wrong. Either your scanner is wrong, or you're drunk.
Be still.
Croats wasn't wrong. She's a beaut. Bored, bored, bored.
Who's there?
Inquisition. Who's here? What's your name?
Lisa B.
Full name. I wasn't concentrating on her especially, but there was something about her. An air. A tone.
Elizabeth Beckwin. Pleasure girl. I worked the Sundome these past 4 dormants.
You're here why?
They paid up front. Wanted a party. Oh, lords.
Get dressed. Stay here. I will want to talk to you.
Hey! The Pleasure Girl was right. There's more than a few of them down there. We should proceed with caution. Looks like a study, Inquisitor. We must surely find something revealing here.
Perhaps we should scan the room with the Auspex, Gregor.
Simon Croats. That's not a name I know.
Someone's coming.
What are you doing?
Kill him!
Still. Step back.
I know some of these men. Those two are locals, low-grade laborers. Long list of petty convictions on both.
Hired muscle.
Seems to be your man's way. The others are off-worlders.
You found papers?
No, it's just a hunch. None of them have got any ID or markers, and I haven't found a cache anywhere.
What about this one?
I have rights.
You're in the custody of the Imperial Inquisition. You have no rights whatsoever. Your name?
I will not answer.
He had switched on some mental conditioning, no doubt taught by Eisenhorn. Mind tricks won't help you.
Go screw yourself.
Tell me your name.
Simon Croats.
Godwin Fishig.
Very well, Simon Croats. Where are you from?
Thracian Primaris.
What was your job there?
I was trade envoy for the bonded merchant guild of Synesius.
I knew the name. Guild Synesius was one of the largest mercantile companies in the sector and had links to the Imperial nobility. And what work brought you to Hubris?
That same work. There is always trade to be had. Long-term contracts with the authorities on this world that require the personal touch.
And what brought you to these private apartments?
Namba Wilk, a local trader. He invited me for a mid-dormant feast.
This dwelling is registered to Namba Wilk, a trader, as he says, no priors. I don't know him.
What about Eisenhorn?
I don't know any Eisenhorn.
There was a ring of truth to his voice. He may well not have known Eisenhorn by that name. There is an awful lot of your story that doesn't add up. You're found here consorting with recidivists who we can connect to a planetary conspiracy. There are charges of murder to be considered. We can continue this in far more intimate and comprehensive circumstances. Or you can make me like you by filling in some details now.
I don't know what to tell you.
Whatever you know. About the Pontius, perhaps? Damn it. He was dead. Eisenhorn had left fail-safes in the conditioning that would trigger at certain subjects. The Pontius evidently was one of those.
So we know nothing?
We know a great deal. Weren't you listening? For a start, we know the Pontius is the most precious secret they protect. The rooms were filling with the freezing wind from outside the dome. They had to escape, albeit too, slowly dying to the icy cold.
What's happening?
We're leaving. The charges were set off by the same spasm that killed Kroats. I realized Fischik was now beginning to understand the resources and capabilities of the people we worked against. Their abominable crime at Processional 212 had demonstrated the scale of their malice. But he hadn't seen that firsthand. Arbeits squads moved into the dwelling and secured it while local Medicaid servitors patched our wounds. We returned to the gun cutter, taking Beckwin with us, but little new information. Save that the bonded merchant guild of Synesius may be worth questioning, and that the Pontius was a name with fatal consequences.
It's a common enough name in this subsector. I've turned up over 500,000 citizens with that forename. Another 200,000 with it as a middle name, plus another 40 or 50,000 spelling variants.
What about the definite article?
I have over 9,000 marks with that connection.
Pontius Glor.
Not on my lists.
Because he's dead?
Because he's dead. But it sort of makes sense.
Pontius Glor, the seventh son of Oberon Glor, a wastrel dilettante who fell into heresy, becoming an abominable disciple of chaos. For 15 long years he wrought discord and evil before being slain by the great Absalom Angevin. Gudrun was the ancestral home of the Glors. He may be dead, but the name and the connection were too obvious to ignore. Midas, find us passage to Gudrun.
That girl Beckwin is... waiting in your room.
The Arbeits say they will charge me with murder and conspiracy.
Sit down. I can make sure the charges are dropped. I have that authority.
Why would you do that? Even if you clear me, I can't carry on here. I'll be marked as trouble. I'll have to move on again.
You're not from Hubris?
No. I was born on Bonaventure. Got here by way of this and that. I've traveled a lot. Never stayed put for very long.
Because things get difficult.
That's right. I'd stuck it out here longer than anywhere. Now that's all screwed up.
Stand up.
Make your mind up.
I want to ask you some questions about the men who employed you at Thor View 12011. If you answer helpfully, I can cut you a deal.
What sort of deal?
I can take you to Gudrun. Or I can offer you employment, if you're interested.
Employment? Even big bad Inquisitors have needs, huh? That's fine.
You misunderstand. The services I have in mind will be new to you. Not the sort of work you're accustomed to.
You're an odd one, all right. Are all Inquisitors like you?
No. Once Fischig returned iClone's possessions to us from the custodians, Loink and I prepared to conduct an auto-seance. I did not expect to glean much from the process, but it was one of the first techniques I'd learned as an Inquisitor. And it was possible that this close inspection of the psychic residues would reveal something to us.
Ready to begin whenever you are, Master.
This has a thick, gelatinous aura. Loink, amplify me. Sumner. I hear Day Sumner as a barely audible whisper. I can feel the aftertaste of his death. Do not touch it. Colder than the ministrations of Dormant. Nothing but malice.
There was danger. Vile danger. From the casket.
I felt it.
But the whole seance was unseemly, Master. As if distracted and spoiled by some factor.
I can explain. The girl we have aboard is an untouchable.
Keep her away from me.
Just prepping for takeoff. We'll be ready shortly.
And so we left the freezing